Welcome back to Lost Legacies.
A Hidden City Book Company production.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome to the first official Lost Legacies podcast on my new podcasting studio rig. I don't know. I got a new Mac.
Wow, you really undersold that.
Yeah.
I was pretty hyped, and then you just
The new studio.
there you go.
It's in the exact same place as the old one. It's just bigger.
Yeah. That's how we do it.
So if I sound better, let me know. Because before my laptop, it was always overheating, and you could hear the metal in the background, and it was the fan. That's how it sounds over the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I was looking for what to upgrade to, and I almost got. It's not the new, because now they have like the new MacBook Pros. Man, those things are powerful.
Yeah.
It's even powerful than what I got now, but I was looking for like the MacBook Air, the top of the line MacBook Air, and the guy was telling me, he's like, well, for what you're using it for and stuff, it's like it might not be enough because those don't have fans in it. So they
Oh,
just when
wow.
they overheat, they overheat. I was like, dude, what?
That's crazy.
Geez. So I ended up just going with the new iMacs. It's blue. It's really nice, so I like it. I want to make the big purchases now in this economy before it's too late.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, God willing, this gets us through Lost Legacies for the foreseeable future. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to hear the little metal fan in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And now just
Damn.
recording this and listening, I'm like, wow, it's so silent. I can hear myself. This is nuts.
Crazy.
But also there's a cool front, so I could hear the wind outside.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we'll find out if the listeners can as well. But we have a slight apology to make, an addendum to last week's episode, because it wasn't until we had finished recording when Sam remembered there's something we didn't talk about last week, and that was Vander.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's okay because I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about him a little bit this week,
Yeah.
because we're talking about Arcane season 2, episode 5, Blisters and Bedrock. Now let me just say this,
Mm-hmm.
just throwing it out there, getting out of the way.
Uh-huh.
I think this is one of the single best hours of television I've ever watched.
Absolutely.
I was just I don't know how to describe it. Nothing happened that I was expecting it to, nor in a way I was expecting it to. Like, I don't know. First off, the beginning with Vi, like I'm not gonna go through the whole episode, but just like the way we get through Vi's kind of like music video, and then almost instantaneously she's thrown back in with Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a short little scene, but it's a good scene. And now I'm like, okay, oh crap, now they're working together, quote unquote, kind of.
Yeah.
It was just like a whiplash. And this is something where like inexperienced writers or like guest writers to your show, I don't think they could do it. I don't know
Mm.
who wrote this, so maybe it was a guest writer. I don't know, but I'm just watching him like it's just so good. And in a way, I feel like less happened in this episode than the previous ones, but the writing was so well done. And it kind of took a breather too. We got to see like a little flashback and got to have some of the backstory of these characters and like the lore kind of fill in a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, halfway through, I was like, damn, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll just jump into it right now. When we get the flashback scene, I was like, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm like, okay, this is yeah, this is good. And we
Yeah.
got clips of it through Vander because we kind of see like his blood red, everything he's seen. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, who's that at the jukebox? I'm like, that's probably their mom, right? Because we knew
Mm.
she had purple hair. And so when we actually got that scene and to have the voice actors back, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. Silco sitting at the bar,
Uh-huh.
looking like a scumbag Matt Mercer.
Ah, damn. They were all in love with her.
Oh yeah.
There's
Oh
no
yeah.
question about it. Like they were all in love with her. What was her name?
I don't know. I don't think they said.
Did they not say?
Mm-mm.
But again, I called it in the first season. It wasn't a big prediction, but I was like, is Vi short for Violet?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it was.
Sure enough.
Yeah. And it's the little context clues as well because we never really see their mom, Vi and Jinx's mom. We see a body and we see that it's purple hair,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of so quick in the very first episode. It's like, oh, okay. And then there's that one shot in season one where like Vi gets knocked out, and when she wakes up, she sees Powder and her mom over
Mm-hmm.
above her, and then she kind of snaps out of it, and it's Caitlyn. And I'm like, oh man, it's so perfect because Caitlyn also has purple hair. Color
Yeah.
theory. Purple is supposed to represent like nobility.
Mm.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a deep dive, but I did just kind of read this whole thing on color theory online, and it was like what different colors mean, how we apply them to the world around us. And I had actually done a lot of that through when I was creating the Hidden City, when we were still a book company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because and that's part of the reason why we have blue and well, we don't have it for the podcast, but our original logo is blue
Mm.
because it's supposed to be trustworthiness. Also, blue's my favorite color.
Go
But
figure.
yeah, I went with a kind of like a lighter shade of maybe baby blue, baby neon blue, Jinx blue. We'll call it Jinx
Mm.
blue.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly, but yeah.
I
So,
can see that. Yeah.
yeah. And red is supposed to be Vi's hair is like it's red, but it's almost like a red pink, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what pink does. I know the drunk tanks used to be pink to calm people down,
Mm-hmm.
but red is supposed to give the illusion of danger. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so think about that in a political standpoint. And you're like, hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. I found it. I just pulled it up right here. So it's a video and they have Zendaya on it for some reason. I don't know. Not
Hmm.
complaining. Red fools people's nervous system and makes them seem more dangerous.
Hmm.
Like, interesting.
Okay.
Violet make oh, I lost it. Yeah, but basically Violet is supposed to project like nobility and money,
Hmm.
which Caitlyn has and
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So,
But Vlad's mom doesn't.
oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. What colors do you create to make purple?
Red and blue.
Red and blue, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to say that and sound like an idiot. So, all right. My theory that I didn't say out loud was correct. Um, and so we haven't, I think they said the dad's name was Connell.
I think so,
They
yeah.
said something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Connor, but it's like Vander's accent. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it's Connell.
Connell. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this episode was up there. I love this show, but even despite that, like this episode just like leagues of legends across the board. Like I was like, oh man, it's so good.
Wow. Now I was gonna say this was leagues above other TV shows.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. So like what did you think? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, like definitely just a more character centric episode.
Hmm.
Definitely like coming down off of really like the last two episodes. But yeah, just really getting to see like, okay, this is where this is where Vi is at. This is how Vi is getting back into the fold. It was really nice to see this bickering sibling dynamic between Vi and Jinx. In a way, they're perfect for each other, you know?
Yeah.
And because they know each other, so well, and they're able to call each other out on their BS, and they can still slug it out, and all this stuff. But like there's love there. You can see that there's love there, and that it hurts to be in each other's presence because of the pain, and all that. But they still love each other, and it's like, man, oh, and
Hmm.
it just makes the ending so much hit so much harder. And I'm like, man,
Yeah. Also, I like that they did fight. Vi
yeah,
dropped the gloves and they just duked it out. I'm like, they needed that.
mm-hmm,
Um, but also it's nice to see Jinx like becoming the bigger sister here,
mm-hmm,
you know? And I think it's just because they're on two different paths and at two different points in that journey. Um, but then also Jinx has that little girl with her as well.
mm-hmm,
So like just naturally like these instincts are coming out in her and she is like a big sister. But also she's the voice of reason in this whole episode. Granted, Vi has very good reasons not to trust her or follow her,
yeah,
but Jinx convinces her and I'm like, yeah. That was a cool tunnel. I like that concept of like you have to make that noise to see it, like to have like the fungus like glow.
yeah, yeah,
I think that was very well done because it's cool, it's very visual, but at the same time it kind of adds a sense of kind of anxiety a little bit
oh yeah,
because they're having that whole talk in that scene and the light is like slowly fading throughout it,
mm-hmm,
until someone claps and it gets bright again. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like the equivalent of having the tea kettle on in a scene and it starts to, do the whistle.
yeah, yeah,
So, and then of course when Vander shows up later and you just see the tunnels lighting up,
mm-hmm,
I was like, oh, geez.
yeah,
So yeah, like not a lot happened, but like plot wise, but a lot happened character wise,
mm-hmm,
and and flashbacks. We get to see them before the revolution, and I like how their mom calls out Silco and Vander, be like, I know it's gonna be okay because it has to be. Y'all
mm-hmm,
can't fail again.
yeah,
This has to work. And Jinx even says, she's like, if he, meaning Soko, if he had found this, if he had read it, things would have been different. Everything would have been different. I was
mm-hmm,
like, yeah.
yeah,
I love how both of their coats were hanging on the wall.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh,
nestled inside of each other. I'm just like,
yeah.
oh man, this show, this sucks.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. On the other side of things, it was really cool seeing Caitlin walk through the prison and like figure things out, doing her little
Mm-hmm,
Sherlock Holmes thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
mm-hmm,
It's nice to remind us that like she's good at her job. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
um,
But she's got that cape looking like a Dracula,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
But then even also, so they interrogate the mad scientist guy,
Hmm.
and of course, Mbessa like she wants the weapon, the power, so she kind of like recruits him.
Hmm.
And I like how Caitlyn just shows up,
Yeah.
and they're both surprised, and she's like, this is why I'm in
Yeah.
charge. And she immediately pulls the gun on him. I'm like, oh God, geez, okay.
Hmm.
I mean, she's smart enough not to trust him, which is good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, geez. Ugh.
Look, if there's a person in both Piltover and Zahn to pull a gun on, it's probably this guy.
Yeah, and that
You
was
know?
interesting because, she discovers this is the guy who basically created Shimmer.
Hmm.
And he takes them into that little room where she looked like a child or
Hmm.
a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's suspended animation, so you got like this Dr. Freeze type thing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And his goal is to prevent death,
Death.
stop death,
Mm-hmm.
the
You.
ultimate disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh man.
So we found out his name, Revik. We
Oh
found
yeah.
out he used to be a prominent academy alchemist.
Yeah.
And we don't really know all of his crimes, but you can kind of guess, like, by the way, like, the scene cuts, where Caitlin's saying, like, there was no mention of your crimes, and then a bunch of dead animals, and a
Yeah.
dude's head in a jar, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, I can see somebody being pushed to the fringes of society because of unsanctioned and creepy experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, it just seems like he just wants to. It's always interesting when you have those characters in movies or shows where it's just like, hey, I really don't care where the money comes from as long as it doesn't stop my work.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, sure. But yeah, it sucks. Like he's just trying to save his daughter, and you're like, well, I guess I can't fault you for trying, but look at
Yeah.
all of the stuff that you've caused,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Crazy.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying
Mel's
to.
going through it.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, I was like, what was I going to say? Mel had very interesting. I really like that storyline.
Hmm.
So she wakes up in some kind of prison, or what does the brother call it? Like,
Uh, I don't remember. It's something with an O. But yeah, it is essentially just like a giant pit,
yeah,
that has one entryway up that even like the rock formation around it looks like a rose.
yeah, and it's looks mostly smooth until she hits something, not actually on accident, but she kind of touches something and it like moves and the whole wall starts to shift. And her
Yeah.
brother's like, "How'd you do that?" She's like, "I don't know, I just did." And it's very interesting because she starts figuring it out. And something I don't think we mentioned this, but she saved Jayce at the very beginning of the show or
Hmm.
the season. And the last thing we saw when the Jinx's rocket was going to hit was like the gold thing on her back start glowing,
Hmm.
and then they survived. And in episode one, Jace even has like survivor's guilt. He's like, I don't know why I'm okay. Just nearly killed Victor. Why am I okay? And Mel's just like, these things happen. You can't ask that.
Hmm.
It's like, what is that? But then going by the story, okay, so this wasn't actually Mel's brother. It's I don't know, the evil lady. I think it's the lady person. And she's like pretending to be him. But she tells the story of how Ambessa had basically another, like a illegitimate child.
Hmm.
And there was something special, like they're set to inherit something. And it looks like that's Mel.
Yeah.
So it's like, so is it actually Mel that there's something special about that caused the thing to glow, or is it a mix, or what? But when she starts
Mm-hmm.
figuring out the puzzle, it starts glowing. And then when she's like all sucked up by the roses and the thorns and stuff, she starts glowing again and like explodes it. Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
I need more info.
I need more info. But
I'm excited though.
I love it. I've always been like, I think Mel's a good character and she's written well, but her kind of storyline has always been like my least favorite. It's like,
Mm.
oh, okay. I can get this kind of, especially like season one, the whole mother-daughter and the political intrigue. I can get this in other shows.
Mm.
All the other storylines feel very much like, okay, this is Arcane.
Hmm.
But now with this, I'm like, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. He's solving a mystery, a puzzle box that she's trapped in. I'm all
Hmm.
for this.
Hmm.
Like, oh man, yeah. Who? I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, puzzle boxes. This could be my favorite storyline. Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah.
And then it
Uh,
could be Hellraiser.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like she's breaking out of the thing, you know?
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
thinking. She's inside of it. Like, so the brother's dead. It's pretty much confirmed, right?
Yeah, yeah, the other person kind of kind of said as much, like we had such high expectations for him, you
Yeah.
know.
I would have totally died. I would have tried to climb my way out the little tiny little slivers in the wall, and I would have never made it. I would have starved to death. Because also, I'm like, are they feeding this guy? Like, where's he go to the
Right?
bathroom? I'm
Yeah.
like, I was thinking, like, should I just do suspension of disbelief or what? But then things started not adding up. The first thing was when he gets up. Like, it's such a cool shot because they're next to each other talking, and then Mel gets up. And then she's not looking straight at the camera, but slightly off where
Hmm.
he is. And then when he responds, he like walks into frame and it catches her off guard. I was like, oh, what
Yeah.
the? Did he just
Yeah.
like, how did he move? What? So instantly you're like, oh, okay, something's off here. And it wasn't until the scene when I realized like, oh, it's not him. Damn
Hmm.
it. I was thinking it was him, but like he's changed or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has changed. He went from life to death.
To death.
Yeah. Uh, so that's exciting. Um, but then this is so weird because like we said, this is one of our favorite episodes. It's always the stuff we really love where we don't have much to say about. It's like, yeah, man, that was good. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like, what can I say?
yeah. But anything we're missing before we talk about like the very, very end?
What, you mean like the stuff with Jace?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just want to shout out how I just want to shout out how freaking cool the show is.
I know. I know.
Because like the whole like fight in the tunnels, and then once Vi like puts down the gauntlets. Well, one first, like I think it's cool that the way they showcase the fight, is all in these flashes,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
very much like it's own like this is only what we're able to capture like in the light, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, so I thought that was cool. Really reminded me of that like first fight from the very first episode where
Oh
like
yeah.
all the kids are like beating up like the two little like kid gangs are like beating up each other,
Yeah.
and Powder's looking on, and it looks like a painting,
Yeah.
that's very much how this fight feels too, and again Powder's looking on, like seeing her sister fight this, insurmountable odds,
Yeah.
um and then of course we get the flashback, just so great. I love characters that just show up, once, and potentially, this person might only show up once. Uh, I love it when they just show up and they just like they're a complete character to themselves.
Yeah. They're in their own show,
And
man.
yeah, like they're in their own show, like they're their own person, and you know, they they just get to live, and it's not a thing of just like, oh yeah, like I don't know. I hope I don't have twins, or I don't it's never like this doesn't feel cheesy, and it doesn't feel pandering. It
Yeah.
just you can see so much of this person's character through their actions, through the reactions of the two people that are with them, and it just feels like true to life. It's just like
Yeah.
this is just a woman who's scared about raising a kid in this environment.
Hmm.
She even said it somewhere where it's like I can't worry about everything that could happen, to her out there, while also figuring out how to try and raise a kid.
Yeah.
It's like there's just something so real to that, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and then she's like, but that's why I have you two, And I'm like, yeah, man, like this is like, and this sucks, like that, like it hits harder, like because it completely recontextualizes all of season one, where it's
Yeah.
like these two brothers, you know, they split apart just like Vi and Jinx.
Yeah.
They allowed this rift between them, and now it's so bad. It's so bad. They were just
Ugh.
meant to protect the people
Yeah.
they cared about. And then to just bring it on home, Powder is there, trying to figure out like the torchlight or whatever. And then she sees this huge hulking beast and she's so scared. And then she sees Vi hugging this monstrous Vander, and she reaches out her stupid big ass gauntlet hand, just
Uh-huh.
like, what are you waiting for? He's your father too. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, screw this show, man.
Uh,
This is so good. It's so freaking good. And they hug, and a little girl comes in a hug, and I'm just like, man, like this is just like I don't even know. Like at this point, this is just a recap, but it's just like
right.
this is just great. Like I don't know, like yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know what else to say other than like these characters have come so far, and I guess I'm just so scared about how much further they have to go. This is
Dude.
episode 5 of a 9 episode season. This is the kind of emotional catharsis that comes in right at the end, and
Yeah. Yeah.
this is great. Yeah, it's great. This
Uh,
is great TV.
so how
Mhm.
about that last scene, dude?
Man,
It looked cool. So that guy, that council member did go down
yeah.
to find Victor and he got healed. I'm like, oh
hmm
wow.
You know what I love? I love how every like POV character is in their own show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Vi and Jinx are in their own show. Caitlyn's in her own show.
Uh-huh.
Mel and Jason Victor. Like Jason Victor are truly in just like a crazy like science fantasy world. Like this
Yeah.
is yeah, like this like I know it's gonna tie back into the series at large, but like this is they're talking about like some philosophical stuff, like things have happened. Jayce has come back changed, you
Yeah, big
know.
time. He has a beard now.
He's got a beard.
He
He's
looks
got a
badass, dude.
yeah, he's got a like crazy knee brace, kind of like Victor did at the
Yeah,
beginning. Uh and his freaking hammer is all like tweaked out is the only way I can express it.
yeah,
Um, it looks like when you're like making something on like a like Photoshop or something, and you
yeah,
just rub one of the tools wrong, and everything just kind of like splits apart.
yeah.
That's what his hammer looks like.
Because it was
Uh,
Hex Tech and now it just looks like absorbed by the Arcane.
yeah, yeah. And freaking Victor is just like able to communicate through others.
Yeah,
Like that's like this is scary. This is pretty scary. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie. Um, I'm gonna have a hot take though.
Uh-huh.
I like Jace's storyline, but I don't like Jayce.
Okay, I could see that.
I think he's. I don't know if it's the way if it's the way he's written or what, but he just
Uh,
feels like a very like one. I just feel like he as a character is a little boring, and I also feel like he's he's always teeter-tottering, he
yeah,
he is always like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna help the people. Oh no, but we can't do this. It's like, okay, but we're gonna use hex tech to do this. Okay, no, we can't use hex tech to do that. Blah blah
yeah,
blah. It's like, and that feels very, true to life. Like, he is being pulled in all these different directions. He's being manipulated by a bunch of different people and
yeah.
forces. But like, he just feels also like the kind of person that is just very reactionary. It's like
Right.
I had a bad thing happen, and so like I had a bad thing happen to me personally, and so
Mhm.
we're done. No more hex tech.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm really curious, like what happened, and but yeah, I feel completely the same. It's just like, damn it, dude. Like I don't even know how to describe that.
hmm
Because it's like, sure, yeah, now he's gonna try and get Arcane out of the city, get like stop Hextech. Like, I
hmm
understand like how you could have a noble intentions with that, but it's like, dude. all of this is because of you, man. Like,
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
stop. Like the Skywalkers, just stop.
Yeah.
And for Jace's thing, like, I don't know if I want to say stop switching sides, but like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's sort of a thing like stop being so reactionary because that's the problem,
Yeah, and
you
like
know?
that's the whole thing, like why he killed that guy,
Yeah.
and it's just like because you disagree with him, like because whatever happened is so dire, you need to kill this guy now to stop the
Yeah.
Arcane. Like, yeah, it's I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I've never really I can empathize with his character, but I've again, kind of like you said, it was just boring. Like there's not much to him.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's part of the reason why I was never really a fan of the Mel stuff because her her kind of storyline, especially season one, was so kind of revolving around him. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
I can see that. I have always liked Mel, but
yeah,
I think it was, you know, it was kind of like in spite of Jace,
yeah.
in
I've liked
spite
her
of her
too.
storyline
Like I said, like
intertwining,
I think
yeah.
she's really well written and stuff, but
Hmm.
to quote Scott Pilgrim, boring. No, because like again, it's like
Wow.
there's nothing really unique about her storyline, and there's nothing in it that like I can't get from other shows, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas
I can see that.
Jinx and Vi, two sisters fighting, it's not really unique, but the way Arcane tells that story is in a unique way, you
Yeah.
know. But now Mel season two, I think that's a much more interesting take on it, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
Because we're getting more of the backstory, and Mbessa is playing more of a role this season.
Mm.
Uh, and now Mel's in some kind of weird magic mystery, and she's stuck in the Hellraiser, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah,
The Space Hellraiser.
yeah. So and again, not to harp on it, but 2 episodes ago, I wasn't able to discuss my feelings on Caitlyn, and I was saying
Hmm.
like I just think like my intent of talking about her as a cop and being a victim, it just came out wrong. But I think again, this is kind of like the point I'm trying to make. Like I can totally empathize with Caitlyn and see where she's coming from while also like just absolutely disagreeing with everything she's doing.
Oh
And I
yeah.
and I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
that's drama, that's so good.
Hmm.
The flip side of that is Jayce, where it's just like, yeah, I see where he's coming from, but I don't really care. It's
Yeah.
always been from a place of of privilege, and that hasn't
Hmm.
changed. Whereas Caitlyn, it's always been from a place of privilege, but now she has that pain that's motivating her,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, okay, empathy sensors are going off now. I'm like, okay, and we like Caitlyn. We had all of season one to really grow to like her. So I think that's how it's done really well. Whereas Jace is just like all over the place, and they're like, all right, we'll
Yeah.
see. And now it's like, well, what's he gonna do? Because this his actions and his headspace is in direct opposition to Victor,
Hmm.
who even though we don't see much of, we love Victor, and he's such a great, unique character as well.
Hmm.
And so now it's just like, yeah, man, like, is Jace a bad guy now? Like, that's what it seems like.
That's what it seems like.
It's
Although to
it's
be fair, you could make a similar argument to Victor, you
yeah, I mean,
know?
it's never black and
Like,
white with the
yeah.
show, it's
Yeah.
red and blue. But uh but yeah, it's again, Victor's story, it came from a place of empathy, and whereas we as an audience can like grow with him and see his journey,
Right,
whereas
right.
Jace, it's not there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It
love
like of everybody, sorry, not to cut you off, but like of everybody in the show, Jace feels like the character who's like the most plot centric. Like
Right.
like every single beat, every single arc that he goes through is all in service to the plot and not his character.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
character is like it's a means to an end,
Right.
but like he's the one who's going to be the driving force to push Hextech out, to be
Yeah.
seduced by Mel, to have all these different feelings with Victor, all these different things.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, like, but at the cost of being interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, and not even interesting at just being empathetic. It's
Yeah.
like there's nothing. It's like you said, like I can totally empathize with Victor and see completely where he's coming from. I can't do that with Jayce.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had one bad thing happen to him in his life that was, so terrible he almost died, but then he was saved.
Yeah.
And that just sparked his interest in all this. And it's like, oh, okay, well,
Hmm.
cool, but you're not taking responsibility for any of your stuff, you
Right.
know.
I don't know. What are we gonna do about Jace?
I don't know. I want to know what happened to Heimerdinger and Echo.
Yeah, so they're
That's what I
still
want to
are they
know.
still in there somewhere?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I
They're getting a
like
spin-off.
right.
That'd be nice.
That'd be cool. Get Heimerdinger away from all these crazy people.
What if inside the Arcane it's just the League of Legends game and they're forced to fight each other over and
Whoa.
over and over?
See, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I had a similar idea to Mel's prison,
Uh
with her brother and like how it seemed like he was kind of glitching out,
oh
and
yeah.
and my idea was like, what if this is like a kind of kind of like a time loop or something where like
Mm.
he's a recording
Yeah,
somehow,
yeah,
like a recording you can touch, and who like is also able to like adapt to conversation, but like which might be too complicated. But that was my idea of like he's like maybe his like conscience is there and is just kind of like flittering around, to get to figure something out. Because like I don't know. Echo had a pretty interesting fight last season that really felt like not time travel esque, but very like time centric.
yeah.
And there's all these designs in Mel's prison that feel of the Arcane, but don't feel as studious as like Victor or Jace's notes.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
feel as chaotic as like Jinx's stuff, but
yeah.
still kind of inspired by that. So I don't know, like it just felt something like this feels like a place that has. I mean, it feels weird to say. It's like this is a place that has history, but I think it's a history we might end up seeing. Like,
Possibly.
yeah, I don't know. Like it just feels. I don't know. It's feels so complex and like I'm just
Yeah,
spitballing. But yeah, like I don't know. Like just like something feeling like time
yeah,
centric.
yeah. And man, I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up in 4 episodes,
Dude, I'm
right?
scared. I'm
I'm nervous
scared.
too. I'm getting really nervous. Like, how are we gonna
Yeah.
do this, guys?
Yeah. This is worrying to me. I wasn't worried at like the end of episode 2, when
Yeah,
all you know paint is flying through the air and fascism is legal. Like I
yeah,
wasn't worried then, but now I'm very worried.
yeah. I'm curious to know, like, the behind the scenes. Did they had the budget for 2 seasons?
Mhm.
But and that article originally said that they were going to spread the story out through 5 seasons.
Mm.
But then they're like, nope, got to do it too. I was like, oh my God. What are we like? I,
Dang.
I don't know how they would have.
Spoiler alert for Andor, but that they kind of hit like a similar issue.
Really?
They were going to tell their story across like
Oh,
five
that's
seasons,
right.
and then no, they were like, no, you got to cut it down. We're only if this does well enough, we'll give you two. And
Yeah.
so Tony Gilroy was like, okay, then all of the ideas, condensing them down. It's like, oh crap.
Damn.
Which is interesting because when we get to it, you'll see like, oh yeah, this little arc that was going to be a whole season.
Well, I kind of feel like that's the opposite of Lost. Because like at the beginning of Lost, the studio was ABC was really trying to
Oh
uh,
yeah, like push it.
spread it
Yeah,
out
yeah,
because it
yeah.
was like episode 8 or whatever when they finally meet Russo that she was going to start giving them some answers and
Mhm.
the execs were like no we want the show to go 10 years, you got to stretch it, which is crazy because no one knew at that point how long or how much story they're going to have,
Yeah.
so they just had very little and they're like, oh no
Hmm.
no no, no, too much,
Yeah, yeah.
your crumbs are too large for your mouth hole. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, to like honestly, that feels like that's such a that's such an interesting dichotomy to look at between like TV shows made back then, TV shows made now. You
yeah,
know, they're, 8 episodes in and willing to be like, hey, I think we got something here.
yeah,
Let's go 10 seasons. Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna push this across the
right,
board. Now, we're lucky that we get a second season of Arcane,
yeah.
you know?
And each season's the seasons now are only 10 episodes,
Yeah.
if that. So it's like, oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it sucks because it's like you have to have everything figured out. Everything has to be on point.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it's like you not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love it when we allow artists room to breathe and to grow and to figure out the meat of the story and not just be like, workshopping
Yeah.
into oblivion, being like, okay, we've got to condense our magnum opus into, you know, a digestible little pill that you can watch
Yeah.
in a day or two.
Yeah. Well, that's Arcane for you. Can't wait to see how it finishes. And I can't wait to see what comes next
Agreed.
and how long it's gonna take.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, let us know if you enjoyed this as much as we did. We had a blast with this one.
Hmm.
It plucked all the emotional chords. Uh yeah, let us know. Hit us up, hashtag Lost Legacies. I'm on Instagram and threads at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch and on what's the other one? Blue Sky
BluSky.
at Matthew Jimenez.
You can find me on BluSky, Instagram, and Threads at Real. It's REEL Texas Weirdo.
And join us next week because we're talking about Arcane Season 2, Episode 6, The Message Hidden Within the Pattern. The call's coming from inside the house. Um, I love long titles like that for episodes.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
done right. Star Trek has some good ones like that, but then other ones are just like some pretentious, like, all right, calm down.
yeah, yeah.
What gods mourn the tears of Apollo's child? I'm like, what? What? Yeah. So until next time, look out for yourselves.
That's what
Nope.
it is.
Nope, that's the
Yeah.
wrong one. I screwed it up again.
Oh, no, no, no. What is it?
Look out for each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look out for each other.
There you go. Like Vi, Jinx, and Vander, and that little girl who I forget her name.
Pretty sure it's Aisha,
Okay, all
I
right, yeah.
think.
Well, we'll find out when she dies.
No.